What up, guys? It's FizzWidget, and ding 100, boys! So yeah, 100 subscribers, most of which from my WoW videos that I don't make anymore. Because those private servers are boring. But still, neat. I can't think of anything better to do than make these videos, though, this video, so here you go. Let's get right into this. Sword Art Online was a show that I absolutely fell in love with a couple years back. I believe I was a sophomore back then, and quite frankly, it was the best show I'd seen. Well, at least I thought so at the time. I absolutely loved the cynicism of Kirito's quote-unquote character, and Asuna's, well, the Asuna. Yuri was kind of neat, and quite frankly, I didn't even pick up on the incest. I thought the music and cinematography was great, and that the show couldn't be beat. I thought it was a perfect 10. I was a fucking idiot. I want to preface the rest of this review with two things. I'm only talking about the first series, and we'll talk about the second one later down the line. I'm still watching it, also, I still like this show, and quite frankly, I don't think it's the 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10 some people want to give it. Seriously, guys, it's not that bad. Alright, now that the serious shit is out of the way, let's make fun of this show. Let's start with the concept. Apparently this wasn't the first trapped in an MMO anime. I've never seen any others, but apparently it's not. Maybe I should find some more. If you guys want to drop some in the comments, go ahead. Now this show, it stars Kirito, a 14-year-old boy who ends up getting trapped in the death game Sword Art Online, where if you die in the game, you die in real life. The show makes some sense, and they do justify how it works through how the nerve gear inherently works. And also, the threat of death that looms over the world is great. It really adds to the atmosphere and keeps things interesting for a while. We'll get to that when we talk about the turning point of everything interesting. Moving on to characters, we have some cookie-cutter archetypes that may as well be out of a 70s cartoon. And I don't mean a 70s anime, I mean out of something that, well, America. We have Kirito, cynical boy who gets really powerful for a reason of being the main character. We have Asuna, cute girl that can fight. She's the only likable main character in the show, and after SAO, she ends up in a rape cage where we almost never see her despite her being the most likable and interesting character, although that isn't saying much when you look at everything else we have to work with. There is Yui, Asuna, and Kirito's Tamagotchi. That is literally there to be cute and pure and then killed off, and that's it. More on that later. For minor characters, we have the blacksmith who is black, nice job Japan, and the red-headed guy we meet rather early on. Don't remember his name, don't care. He plays such a little part in the plot that he's only there for a few comedic moments and could have been written out completely. Now, as for art design and animation, which is something I always take a look at, and this is where a lot of people poke their heads, honestly, I think the animation is pretty good. Clean and smooth, the cinematography also playing a good role and making it look pleasurable to watch, for the most part. Scene-to-scene continuity is kept up, as well as combat movements look flashy without using more complex terms. Cool. The art design is rather dull, though. It's a very generic anime look. While shows like Rosario Vampire use its generic and basic art style to make fun of anime and do a lot of different things with it, Sword Art Online has a generic art style, and that's it. None of the monster designs are very interesting, with the exception of the last boss you see, which I will not spoil. Go fucking watch that episode. It's actually really cool. Armor, weapon designs are pretty good, though. All the weapons and armor look like they could be used practically. Not that they would be used practically, but that they could, and I think that's kind of a neat touch. Now, sound is another place I have no real complaints, except that they use certain sound effects way too many times in a short amount of time. The music usually fits the scene as competent. However, we need to talk about what I have named the rage of Kirito. When he just screams like he's going Super Saiyan, it's hard to take seriously, and honestly, it's laughable. Quite frankly, I think it would have been more interesting if he was more of a quiet fighter and slowly grows with rage as he starts to lose versus going 0 to 100 after getting tickled a bit. Or hell, just a pure, calm fighter on like a la Saitama from One Punch Man. Alright, so the mechanics are okay. They're competent, the characters are generic and shitty, but hey, at least there'll be plenty of action and awesome fight scenes, you poor, poor child. This is what I would describe as a romance anime with action and adventure elements. It hides it very well in the first few episodes. Once Asuna is introduced beyond the first 2 episodes, it starts to devolve into the romance, and a lot of people turned off and just didn't like it because it wasn't what they signed up for. Then there's me, and this is why this show is a guilty pleasure for me. I love this mushy romance stuff. I loved it in Rosario Vampire. I love it in this show. And even when it's between a non-character and, well, to put it simply, a woman who was put into this world by the writers to be unconditionally loved by Kirito and to unconditionally love Kirito. And not much comes of this but some fantasy for the viewers, and I love it. I'm going to be honest, I fucking love it. I would have preferred if it stayed as more of an action anime than this, but I still enjoyed it. That's just me. It still handled very well average, and at that point on the lower end of average. Then there's the thing that a lot of people say ruined the show, and I unfortunately have to agree. They removed the threat of death, at least for the main characters and friends of main characters. There's a point where Yui is getting deleted for saving Asuna and Kirito, and during a very bland scene, in a few seconds, Kirito is able to isolate Yui's code, a very complex AI that's capable of rewriting itself for different situations, and turn it into an item that can be revived. So Kirito is a master programmer, and I care immensely. This removes so much of the threat of the show, and you'd be like, nah, just let me do this and this. The other thing that removes the threat is Kirito's fighting with Heathcliff. He gets killed. He gets beat. It's like, sure, he's gonna die. This is gonna lead to something cool. Maybe Asuna takes the sword and becomes the guy who kills Heathcliff in the end. Fucking awesome. No. He gets killed and says, nah, I will kill you with the power of love and devotion to Asuna. A sweet scene, but one that removes threat and any kind of suspense. The tales in the second MMO are similar in their issues and strengths, except even more dull because Asuna. And more rapey things and more incest between Kirito and his cousin, sister. I don't know, and I don't really care. There's incest. We'll leave it at that. In short, the show would be painfully average, except they did one thing. Removing the threat of defeat and death. At least in the Sword Art Online portion. They did a little better with Alfheim, because there was the whole ticking clock, which was kind of neat. But there was one thing they needed to do, and that was make sure that the threat of death was kept alive. The threat and suspense. But nope, they threw it to the wind. The 1 out of 10 or the 2 out of 10 are a bit harsh in my opinion, but personally the show gets a 4 out of 10 from me. Maybe this second series will be more interesting. I've seen the first episode, which is much to go by, but it definitely is showing more promise. That's the end of the base script, but I have been continuing watching. I'll give more of my thoughts on the Sword Art Online 2 later down the line in a more complex review, but it's a lot better, in my opinion. They improved. Well, guys, be sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.